Yo, what's up guys? Latios here, back with another video. Have you guys ever hopped into a match in Splatoon 3, opened up your map, and saw this, and wondered, why is literally everyone in my lobby running Ninja Squid? Well, there's several different reasons for this. In Splatoon 2, Ninja Squid was mostly used by frontlines that needed to rely on sneaking around in order to effectively move in and get picks. Weapons like rollers and brushes were typically what you would see running this ability in 2. You would see the occasional blaster or splatter shot or splash running it, but these weren't really the meta sets on any of these weapons. However, in Splatoon 3, this has changed. Pretty much any non-anchor weapon is seen running Ninja Squid very frequently, and it's not uncommon to go into a match and have to fight 3 enemies running Ninja Squid whenever you engage.
With an ability so centralizing to the meta, it's no surprise that Nintendo recently addressed it in the recent patch 2.1. But Ninja Squid's strength reveals a lot about the state of the meta at the beginning of the game, as well as where it could potentially head in the future.
So, why is this? What changed that allowed this to happen? And what does this teach us about Splatoon 3 as a whole?
And despite the patch, is Ninja Squid still broken?
In this video, I'll answer all of these questions as well as provide my own personal opinion on the topic. If you're a fan of Splatoon 3 content such as this, go ahead and like and subscribe so you don't miss out on more future guide videos such as this one. Let's get into it. The first major change that's played a role in the rise of Ninja Squid is the change to the swim speed reduction from Splatoon 2. As many of you know, the downside to running Ninja Squid is that you swim more slowly than you would if you weren't running the ability. In Splatoon 2, this penalty was 20% of your swim speed. That's a pretty hefty amount, and if you wanted to run Ninja Squid and not have cripplingly slow speed, you need to focus a lot of your build towards swim speed to get your speed back up. However, in Splatoon 3, Ninja Squid's swim speed penalty was reduced from 20% to 10%. This means you need to run less swim speed to get back to base swim speed than you would have in Splatoon 2. On Splattershot, for example, which is a middleweight weapon, you'd need to run about 5 subs with Ninja Squid to get back to base swim speed in Splatoon 3. In Splatoon 2, you would have needed 7 subs to do the same thing. Having to run less swim speed to get back to normal swim speed is a big reason why more people are running Ninja Squid. They can fit Ninja Squid into their build without committing their entire build to swim speed to negate the slowdown. But this isn't the only reason why Ninja Squid is seeing more use lately. Splatoon 2's endgame meta was rampant with both missile spam and armor spam in basically every comp. What these two specials both have in common is that they negate the effectiveness of Ninja Squid in some way. In the case of missiles, the special allows you to track where every player is on the map and call this information out to your team before forcing them to displace. This obviously removes the impact of Ninja Squid, at least temporarily, because the enemy team will know your location, as well as force you to move away from your current location to dodge the missiles. In the case of armor, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Armor was so good in Splatoon 2 that it was essentially game-breaking and was ran on virtually every comp. The problem with this is that armored players have a glow, which remains visible even when submerged in your own ink. This means even if you have Ninja Squid, the enemy is going to know exactly where you are when you're using armor. The prevalence of these two specials didn't make Ninja Squid useless, but it did make it so that the times in the match where it was helpful were reduced. Outside of rush and roller players, most non-anchor players in 2 opted to run quick respawn, main power-up, last-ditch effort, or other abilities, and simply attack their opponents head-on with armor, since their opponents were going to know their location anyway due to missiles on the armor glow. However, armor's removal from the game in Splatoon 3 means that no longer will there be a special that gets spammed that reveals their location every single game you play. And while missiles are still in the game, they've been nerfed as of patch 2.0 to be less spammable, and the main weapons that get missiles right now are generally not desirable in team comps at this point in the game. This means that a lot of the time you're not even going to have to worry about missiles, and it also means that even when you do, it's not going to have as much of an impact due to the nerf. Going from a meta which featured 2 specials that negated Ninja Squid in every single comp, to a meta where one of these specials doesn't exist and the other is nerfed, is definitely a big reason why more people are running Ninja Squid in Splatoon 3. As with any new Splatoon game, Splatoon 3 comes with its own set of new maps. But for some reason, pretty much all the new maps that have been introduced in 3 make it really hard to flank or apply pressure on long-range weapons. This makes chargers, especially E-liter, really good in this game, and much more of a problem than they were at the end of Splatoon 2. The already mentioned changes to armor and missiles also make this problem worse, as these 2 specials were great at neutralizing good charger players and preventing them from getting uncontested shots off. There are other ways to apply pressure on chargers, but they aren't global and spammable like missiles and armor, which makes chargers a lot more prominent in Splatoon 3. Now, the reason why this impacts Ninja Squid is because these maps that make chargers strong in this game are very wide open maps without much cover and not enough flank routes. This means it's a lot easier for the other team to figure out where you are without using specials like missiles or armor, because they have sight lines over all of mid and can see where everyone is swimming almost all the time due to the lack of cover or flanks. Ninja Squid counteracts this by making it so that at least when you're in squid form, it's harder for the enemy team to call out where you are at all times, which helps you to win the battle of information a little bit easier. You can go from point A to point B a lot more reliably without the opponent seeing you go there every single time. It also means it's easier for you to move out in the open without getting sniped or picked off by a longer range weapon. It's not impossible for chargers to see your swim ripples with Ninja Squid, but it's hard enough to the point that you can swim out in the open without worrying about getting immediately sniped every time you leave cover. This gives you a lot more options and makes it a little bit harder for the charger to control your positioning. With how wide open the maps in this game are and how important it is to know the location of your enemies at all times so you can make smart decisions in battle, I'd argue that this is the most important reason for Ninja Squid being so common in the current meta.
Well, let's address the patch and what it changes. There's two changes that were made to Ninja Squid in patch 2.1. The first change is that for the first half a second after you go into squid form, your ripples on the ink are still visible, unlike previously when you'd be invisible in the ink the entire time as long as you were in it. This has the effect of making Ninja Squid weaker as a tool for avoiding shots and duels, because every time you want to pop out of your ink to shoot and then go back in, you reveal your location again. Now, I personally think this is a positive change, because Ninja Squid's ability to help players win duels because their opponent just flat out couldn't see where they were was a little bit silly and wasn't really the intent of the ability in the first place. As for the second change, this change was really poorly translated when the patch notes came out, and the community went back and forth debating on what this actually meant, but we now know what it means. As I mentioned earlier, Ninja Squid comes with a 10% reduction on your swim speed. However, before patch 2.1, it also came with a 20% penalty on the effect of any swim speed that you ran. This caused your swim speed to scale pretty poorly, even with the buff that Ninja Squid got from Splatoon 2. Patch 2.1 reversed this, which now means that your swim speed scales the same as it would if you didn't have Ninja Squid. Essentially what this means is that while your speed is still reduced by Ninja Squid, your swim speed up will increase your speed a bit more than it did before the patch. While the half-second vulnerability on Ninja Squid might seem like a really negative change to the ability, I think Ninja Squid is still a super strong ability right now. While it's now worse in duels for avoiding shots, this was just a secondary benefit of the ability. The real benefit, which is the aforementioned ability to counteract the bad map design in this game that favors long-range weapons, isn't really impacted that much. You can still swim out in the open for long stretches of time without chargers or other ranged weapons being able to see your location and call you out, which removes your information advantage. You can also swim a bit faster than you could before the patch with the same amount of swim speed due to the buff to how swim speed scales with it. I personally really like this change because it prevents Ninja Squid from being a nuisance in up-close combat, but it still provides an option for counterplay in this meta that revolves around long-range pressure in the form of Crab and E-Leader. Until Crab receives further nerfs or the map designs are adjusted to make E-Leader a little bit more fair on some of the maps, I think Ninja Squid, while still a broken ability, is a healthy option in order to counteract other flaws in the game's early design.
So yeah, those are the reasons why Ninja Squid is so prevalent in Splatoon 3 right now. Looking at the Crab tank meta that we're in right now and the likely nerfs that will happen to Crab, I think it would make sense for Ninja Squid to remain common in the meta, barring some sort of nerf.
Looking to the future, I think it's likely we see some sort of additional change to Crab Tank in the Season 3 patch that's coming up here in a few weeks. Flash hasn't really become any less prevalent, and the dev team has double nerfed things in the past in similar situations. In a situation like this,
with Crab being less strong after a potential nerf, I think we'll see E-Leader ran a lot, which will make running Ninja Squid continue to be worth running on most weapons in the game for the foreseeable future. This game is in a really interesting spot right now where once Crab gets nerfed, now we're going to be in a situation where this game really favors chargers, and the strength of Ninja Squid is one of the only things that will keep this in check. But for me, ultimately neither of these things, the strength of chargers and the strength of Ninja Squid, are really healthy for the game. I think most of the new maps in this game need reworks to provide for more flank routes and cover against chargers and other long-range weapons, and that once this change is made, there won't really be a reason for Ninja Squid to be as strong as it is right now, and a nerf to it will be well deserved. But as of right now, these changes haven't been made yet, so the game is in a pretty interesting spot, all things considered. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Do you think Ninja Squid is too broken and needs a nerf right now? Or do you think it's just fine the way it is? Let me know down in the comments. Regardless, it's no debate that Ninja Squid is here to stay in Splatoon 3. I hope you were able to learn something from this video, and if you like guide videos like this, make sure to like and subscribe for more in-depth Splatoon 3 content like this. This is Ladio signing off. I'll see you guys soon.